You know what I completely forgot yesterday? I forgot to laugh at Bama for losing to Oklahoma, so here it is. Oh gosh. I wanted to laugh so much at the time for losing by 21 points to Oklahoma. It's like the Mike Shula era never left. It just took 20 years to come back. But as far as NFL goes, I actually had a good time. 10 of 13 correct, so I'm good to go. Not in fantasy football though, because I'm pretty much out of the playoffs at this point. 4-8. Yep, I lost again. I might be just cursed in fantasy football. Yeah, like the team that I have, like you should not go 4-8 with that team. But apparently I did because of injuries. Rice is out for the season. Mike Evans missed a couple weeks, and Ferguson was out for a while. Taysom Hill, I should have kept him. But the fact that he was injured and Ferguson was on bye, I had no other choice. And he ends up popping off against the Browns. That was like a week ago, though. But anyways, welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football. It's the Grizz, and we got Week 12 NFL reactions. If you are new to this series, I will leave a link in the description with the entire playlist so that you guys can view every single video so that you're all caught up, and you'll also have future videos whenever I post them. Also, make sure to hit that red subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. And be sure to smash that like button, and without further ado, let's get to the games. Kicking this week off, we had the Thursday night blizzard with the Browns beating the Steelers 24-19. What the hell, man? Chris Boswell missed like one field goal, but it didn't even do anything. Like, it didn't change the outcome of Browns winning, so it doesn't even matter anyway. How in the world did Russell Wilson get a very solid game, but y'all still lost? Russell Wilson had 21 of 28 for 270 yards and a touchdown. Rushing game was mid, except for Jalen Warren getting a rushing touchdown. And for some reason, Calvin Austin had the most receiving yards with 78 on 3 catches and a touchdown. George Pickens only had 4 catches for 48 yards. That's a little concerning. It's nice to see that Arthur Smith has not changed a damn thing. The only highlights for the defense was a Nick Herbig sack and an interception by Dante Jackson. That was it. And also 2 fumbles that were forced. But the turnovers didn't matter because the offense did not want to show up very much. I mean, come on. Like, you let the Browns beat you? Even with this defensive performance, forcing 3 turnovers? Come on, man. Like, Jameis didn't have that bad of a game, but also not that good passing. 18 of 27 for 220 yards and a pick, but he also had a rushing touchdown. This is also with Nick Chubb getting back to form with 2 rushing touchdowns and 60 yards. He's slowly getting back to his prime again. Jerry Jeudy leads receiving for the 2nd week in a row. 6 catches for 85 yards this game. Good for him. No interceptions or turnovers really. I guess 1 fumble would be one. But there was also 4 sacks in this game. 3 of them from Myles Garrett. Somebody wants to get back in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. So let me get this straight. A Thursday night blizzard can mean anything can happen. Got it. It's nice to see the defense finally got back to form. Now win some more damn games. And Pittsburgh, don't let this slip up make you choke the AFC North. Kicking off the Sunday 1 o'clock slate, we got the Titans upsetting the Texans 32-27. And so the end of the game went like this. Houston tried to tie the game up with a field goal, but they missed. And there was also a safety for the Titans as well. Sad. But seriously, Houston was playing catch up the entire game. The entire game. How do you do that against Tennessee? Well, except for like 3 minutes into the, actually 4 minutes into the first quarter. That was basically all the lead that Houston had. Well, actually no. First quarter they had a lead, but everything else had to play catch up. Will Levis had himself a solid game, 18 of 24 for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, with Tony Pollard getting 120 yards and a rushing touchdown on the day. Calvin Ridley led receiving again with 5 catches for 93 yards. Chika Conwell had a 70-yard receiving touchdown, and the other touchdown went to Westbrook-Ikhine, he's had a touchdown consecutive games now. If you told me that the Titans would get 3 sacks, actually no, 4 sacks and 2 interceptions against Houston, I would have called you nuts. Kenneth Murray and Jarvis Brownlee got interceptions. Those are 2 names I haven't said in a while. 4 sacks. There was also Devontae Sweat, Jeff Simmons, and Harold Landry getting some of those sacks. And shout out to Nick Folk for getting 3 field goals and scoring 12 points on the game. But what the hell happened to Houston? C.J. Stroud had 20 of 33 for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Is he Brett Favre in disguise? I don't know. Rushing game was just abysmal, like complete dog shit. Nico Collins finally got 100 yards and a touchdown again. 5 catches for 92 and a touchdown to be specific. And the other touchdown went to Cade Stover. This Houston defense had 8 sacks and an interception, 3 from Danielle Hunter and 2 from Will Anderson. Like, that defensive pass rush from the edge is disgusting. And he also had an interception from Jimmy Ward, but somehow the offense completely self-destructed, and sometimes the defense did as well. And it ultimately led to a defeat at the hands of the fucking Titans. That team is just dead as a mug, and you lost to them? D'Amico, I only got one thing to say to you. Clean this shit up. You got to play at Jacksonville next week. Clean it up, or get someone who will. Up next, we got the Vikings beating the Bears in overtime, 30-27. I remember this game for the fact that Caleb Williams led the Bears to come back from 11 points down with 2 minutes left in the game. Like, Vikings had a choke job, but still won. Why? Sam Darnold had a very impressive game, 22 of 34 for 330 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day, with Aaron Jones having 100 rushing yards and a score. And surprisingly, Jordan Addison led receiving with 8 catches for 162 yards and a touchdown. And DJ Hawkinson also had 7 catches for 115 yards. But the big surprise was that Justin Jefferson had 2 catches. He didn't even get hurt. He only had 2 catches the entire game. He couldn't even get like more than 1 in overtime. Actually, I don't even think he got 1 in overtime. What the hell, Vikings? This is supposed to be your best receiver and you only threw to him twice? What is going on? At least the pass rush decided to show up for this game. 2 sacks for Greenard, 1 for Andrew Van Ginkel, and that's basically it. At least Harrison Smith had a solid tackling game. Vikings, you better give a big thank you to John Parker Romo for winning you this game for having a leg. If it wasn't for his field goals, you probably would have lost this game. And even then, Caleb Williams actually looked good in this game. The Vikings defense made Caleb Williams look good. That is a shocker. 32 of 47 for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns for Caleb Williams. Rushing game was pretty abysmal, other than Rashawn Johnson getting a rushing touchdown. DJ Moore led receiving with 7 catches, 106 yards and a score, but Keenan Allen also had 9 catches for 86 yards and the other receiving touchdown. 3 sacks for the Bears defense. They also had an onside kick recovery, with Kevin Byard having 11 tackles in this game. What the hell, man? And I'm very sure Cairo Santos not only missed a field goal, I think he missed a PAT as well. I think a lot of kickers have been missing PATs lately. You're going to find that out a little bit later. Oh, Bears, if you only had an offensive line that could give Caleb Williams a lot of time to find his targets. Like, come on, Bears. This is Eberflus's fault. Like, how has he not been dealt the axe yet? Or dealt that dead man's hand? Like, how has he not been fired yet? Speaking of coaches in the hot seat, McCarthy got a damn lucky win this week. We got Cowboys beating the Commanders 34-26. The ending to this game was unreal. It was literally just the fourth quarter show again. Just like last Thursday night with Commanders against the Eagles. So basically what happened in the ending, Cavante Turpin had a kick return for a touchdown. Terry McLaurin had a long touchdown, but Seibert missed the extra point. They go for onside kick, and the defender gets it, takes it all the way to the house, and that was game. Well, there was also a Hail Mary, but that got intercepted. Cooper Rush had himself a game, 24-32, 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. Poor Trey Lance has the right to bench, still. Rico Dowdle had a solid rushing game with 86 rushing yards at 4.5 yards to carry. My man CeeDee Lamb led receiving with 10 catches and 67 yards, with Shoemaker and Tolbert getting 2 of the receiving touchdowns. There were 2 interceptions in this game by Chauncey Golston and Israel Mukamu, and there was also 4 sacks in this game, with 2 of them coming from Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons never lost it. And this was also what I was talking about. Kavonte Turpin got a 99-yard touchdown, and there was also Wanye Thomas that got a 43-yard touchdown because of an onside kick. And let me tell you, that onside kick was a freaking disaster. Jaden Daniels had himself an okay game if it wasn't for the picks. 25 of 38 for 275 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, with Jaden Daniels also getting a rushing touchdown. Terry McLaurin, like I said, had a long touchdown. He led receiving with 5 catches, 102 yards, and the other touchdown went to old man himself, Zach Ertz. You're telling me that the Washington defense can only get to Cooper Rush one time with Deron Payne? Really, defense? Where were you fourth quarter? Also, Cyber, I just gotta say, you had a 7 field goal game earlier in the season. Don't think this is the end for you. There's still a lot of opportunities to make that redemption arc. This is honestly a fluke in my opinion. Cowboys are still terrible. Washington is still a pretty decent NFC East team. I think they'll be second. Cowboys will be third because the Giants are a shithole, and the Eagles are still the best team in the NFC East. Yeah, I said it. Up next, we had the Patriots losing to the Dolphins 34-15. Yeah, they got absolutely shit on. 24 points in the second quarter. Damn, Miami. Drake May had a solid game. 22 of 37, 220 yards, a touchdown and a pick on the game, and the rushing game was horseshit. Demario Douglas led receiving, but he only had 62 yards on 5 catches, with the only touchdown going to Austin Hooper. Yeah, the only highlight was that they got 2 sacks, but it didn't really matter. Christian Gonzalez was a freaking monster. Yeah, the defense did not have a great game at all. Oh yeah, and Joey Slye missed a field goal. Rushing game for the Dolphins were also abysmal, but 2 were made up for with 300 yards on 29 of 40 and 4 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle led receiving with 8 catches, 144 yards and touchdown. Welcome back, man. Jonnu Smith getting his receiving touchdown, making Arthur Smith still happy. And 2 receiving touchdowns for Devon Achane. That's a big surprise. And Tyreek Hill only had 5 catches for 48 yards. What happened there? 4 sacks and a pick for the Dolphins. Pick was by Tyrell Dodson. I don't think I've said that name before. And shout out to Jason Sanders for getting 2 field goals and scoring 10 points on the day. New England is still trying to get a top draft pick, and the Dolphins are trying to get back to playoff contenders because without Tua, they were nothing. And now that they have him back, yeah, it's looking possible now. Up next, we have the Chiefs edging away from the Panthers 30-27 on the road. The offense was fine, but what the hell happened to the defense? That might have been their worst performance as a defensive unit so far this season, allowing the Panthers to score 27 points. Are you fucking kidding me? Pat Mahomes had 27-37 for 270 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had a good game. Rushing game was solid with 60 yards from Mahomes, 68 from Kareem Hunt. Noah Gray, of all people, getting 2 touchdowns on 4 catches for 66 yards. Travis Kelce had a solid game, and the other touchdown went to DeAndre Hopkins. The defense only mustered up 2 sacks in this game. Only 2. The defense otherwise played like shit. Harrison Butker was injured, so they ended up getting Spencer Schrader from the Jets. And Kansas City, you better thank him for winning this game for you, because maybe you'll lose this game to the Panthers if he doesn't show up. Meanwhile, Bryce Young had another pretty solid game with 21-35 for 260 yards and a touchdown, with Chuba Hubbard getting the rushing touchdown. David Moore having 6 catches for 81 yards and a very spectacular catch for a touchdown in traffic. And there was also 5 sacks from the Panthers defense. Too bad they couldn't stop the Chiefs from scoring points. Yeah, it was also a great game for kickers because not only did Spencer Schrader have a good game, so did Andy Pinheiro. You got your 10th win, but man, you have looked ugly. That's why the Lions are the best team in the NFL right now, not you. Next up, we got the Buccaneers absolutely dismantling the Giants 30-7. Like, Giants had no chance. Giants, you cut Daniel Jones for this shit? Like, you couldn't even avoid the same damn problems with Tommy DeVito at quarterback. You might as well just get Trey Lance right now. So, Baker Mayfield had 24-30 for 300 yards, but the rushing game? 4 players had rushing touchdowns this game. What the fuck? Leading receiver was Mike Evans with 5 catches for 68 yards, but then there's Bucky Irvin who had 6 catches for 64 yards? What? 4 sacks in this game for the Bucks, and that's pretty much it. They really didn't have to lift a finger on defense because they did its job though. Tommy DeVito looked okay. I mean, 190 yards, 21-31. Certainly better than Daniel Jones without an offensive line. Keep in mind, the Giants had the same offensive line problems with or without Daniel Jones. Because the rushing game was just a bunch of mid, with Singletary getting the only rushing touchdown. Lee Mavers, as always, leads receiving with 6 catches for 64 yards. And the defense couldn't get a single sack or turnover. Sad. Well, they had a fumble, but big freaking deal. Not much else to say except the Bucks might win the NFC South after all. Maybe I was right this whole time. And in the final game of the 1 o'clock slate, we had the Lions beating down on the Colts 24-6, further proving why they are the best team in the NFL. But you know, I was expecting a lot more points from you, Lions, especially what you did against the Jags and Titans. You should have done the same to the Colts, but Colts defense is a lot tougher than everybody realizes. At least they didn't allow a single passing touchdown. Jared Goff had 26-36 for 270 yards, not bad. But they could not deal with the rushing game at all, as the two-headed monster had a total of 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm talking about Gibbs and Montgomery. Jameson Williams led the receiving with 5 catches for 64 yards, which is very interesting. Surprisingly, no sacks or interceptions on Anthony Richardson, but speaking of Anthony Richardson, he's back to his inconsistent self again. 11-28, 170 yards. He had 6 yards to carry on the rushing game, but come on, you gotta get those passing numbers better. And Michael Pittman had 6 catches for 96 yards. He finally woke up. 3 suspects on defense. Franklin Cross and Speed leading the tackling game, and 1 sack from Franklin, and there were 3 sacks total in this game for the Colts defense. Colts were going to put up a fight on defense, but they didn't put so much of a fight on offense. I think the stars that Matt Gay was the only one that could score points in this game. Yeah, not much else to say. Colts, you might be mid-table, and Lions, you're on your way to perhaps a Super Bowl appearance. I say perhaps because it's not guaranteed at all. Kicking off the Sunday 4 o'clock slate, we got the Broncos beating the Raiders 29-19. Those of you saying Bo Nix is here, he's been here. Did you not watch what his game was against us? Bo Nix on the day had 25 of 42 for 270 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jaleel McLaughlin led the rushing, but let me tell you something. Javonte Williams had 8 carries and he had -2 rushing yards. I'm not joking, that's a real stat. Man, I should have dropped his damn ass instead of Christian Watson because, man, he sucked this game. At least Cortland Sutton showed up. 8 catches, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think I had him in the starting lineup. 8 catches, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day, with Devon Faley also having 6 catches for 80 yards. No idea what happened there. Interception by Jones, and I counted 4 sacks on the game for the Broncos defense. Oh yeah, and Will Lutz kicked 5 field goals and scored 17 points. Yeah, thankfully he was there to kick some field goals because he made a lot of them. Nice to see Desmond Ridder looks like what happened against Atlanta his only year starting. The 2 quarterbacks combined for 30 of 52. You guys threw 50 times? You still can't get anything going. Use the rushing game for goodness sake. 300 yards, a touchdown, and a pick from Minshew. Since when did Sincere McCormick get on the Raiders? Where the heck did he come from? Jacoby Myers led receiving with 10 catches, 121 yards. Man, if I could start anybody over Javonte Williams, it would definitely be Myers. His talent's there. Like, He just needs to get on the right team that will give him the ball. I think the Raiders have the best chance right now. Oh yeah, Mir Abdullah also had a receiving touchdown. 1 sack by Tyree Wilson, and that was basically it. Again, good day for kickers. Daniel Carlson also had 13 points. Honestly, it was just a battle of field goals, but the Broncos just had a ton more points. That was basically it. Now, I'm not sure if they're second in the AFC West, but great job, Denver. I hope you make the playoffs. Next, we got a low-scoring affair, a defensive affair to be specific. We had the Seahawks beating the Cardinals 16-6. Furthering my point that the NFC West is just pure chaos, just like the Big 12. This division is fucking crazy. Cardinals offense did not manage to score a single touchdown. Murray had 24-37 for 280 yards and a pick. Rushing game was absolute shit. And Trey McBride led receiver with 12 catches, 130 yards. Good lord. 4 sacks and interception, with Garrett Williams getting the easiest interception of his career. Okay, it wasn't Matt Prater kicking for the Cardinals. It was Chad Ryland. He got 2 field goals. He was the only one to get points this game. Rushing game was pretty abysmal for Seattle as well. Geno Smith had 22 of 31 for 250 yards. He did score a touchdown. He did throw a pick though. That was like a terrible interception as well. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown, and DK Metcalf has made some great catches in this game as well. I wasn't expecting Seattle to get 5 sacks, with Leonard Williams getting 2.5, and then a pick 6 by Kobe Bryant to top it off. Woo-wee! This was a great defensive battle. Like I said before, the NFC West is just pure chaos. Like, nobody knows what's going on in that division anymore. And the final game of the Sunday 4 o'clock slate, we had the Packers absolutely smacking the injured 49ers team 38-10. Jeez. Not having Brock Purdy on the field really did hurt that offense a ton this game. I mean, Brandon Allen had 200 yards, 17-29, and he threw a touchdown. He also threw an interception. And the rushing game was just absolutely horrific. And it was George Kittle, of all people, that got the touchdown. I'm just kidding. George Kittle is a freaking monster. 6 catches, 82 yards, and a score. Leonard Floyd had the only sacks in the game, which was 2. And that was basically it for the Niners defense. They just couldn't stop the Packers' momentum at all. Offense couldn't move the ball, and defense always getting fatigued out there, thanks to the offensive struggles. Jordan Love had a pretty good game as well. 13-23 for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Josh Jacobs had himself the game of his career. 100 yards and 3 touchdowns on 26 carries. Damn, Josh. Let's go, dude. Raiders fans, are we mad that you guys didn't pay him now? Actually, I'm just kidding. You guys have been mad since week 1. Somehow, Romeo Doubs led receiver with 3 catches for 54 yards, with the touchdowns going to my main tight end, Tucker Kraft, and a guy by the name of Malik Heath. I have no idea who that is. He was definitely some guy that got playing time because the Packers were up big because they were kicking the Niners' ass. Weekly Xavier McKinney pick, and there was also 2 sacks, but the offensive explosion really won the Packers this game, along with the impressive defensive performance by the Packers. Yeah, they just dominated on both sides of the ball, and they're still contending in the NFC North. Like, everyone in the NFC North except the Bears are contenders. I'm sorry, Bears, but you're offensive line away from being solid playoff contenders. Just keep on going, Packers. In the Sunday Night Football matchup, we had the Eagles smacking the Rams 37-20. As soon as the second quarter hit, the Eagles hit their stride, 34 points after the first quarter, which was a disaster. Yeah, after this first quarter ended, it was just score for the Eagles. And the Rams couldn't do a damn thing about it. Jalen Hurts had a solid game. I don't think anybody really paid too much attention to that. 15-22, 180 yards, and a touchdown pass. But Saquon Barkley had the game of his life. Not just his career, his damn life. On the ground, he had 10 yards to carry, 255 yards on the ground, and 2 touchdowns. And he added 407 receiving yards to add 300 total yards on the game. Sure, A.J. Brown had 100 yards on 6 catches and a score as well, and Kenneth Gainwell got the other rushing touchdown, but Saquon was the main man of this Eagles team this game. Defense showed up as well with 5 sacks, 2 of them coming from Milton Williams. I don't think I've said that name before. It's not that Stafford had a bad game. He actually had a pretty good game. 24-36, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day, with Kyren Williams finally getting another touchdown. Puka Nacua once again led receiver with 9 catches, 117 yards, with the touchdowns going to Demarcus Robinson and Cooper Kupp. It just wasn't enough. The 1 sack by Braden Fisk wasn't even close to being good enough because the defense couldn't stop a damn thing for Saquon. They allowed 300 total yards to 1 player? Yeah, your defense is cooked after that. I'm going to say this right now. I've heard that the Eagles are the only team that could compete with the Lions, and I gotta say, I agree. And for those of you saying, oh, the Chiefs are going to beat the Lions if they play the Lions, no fucking chance. If you have Rashee Rice, maybe. But since you don't, hell no. Besides the Lions, the Eagles, well, they can compete with the Vikings, but the Eagles are definitely the best team in the NFC besides the Lions. And the final game is the Monday night matchup where the Ravens edged out the Chargers 30-23. I figured this game would be very close, and I was right. I was so close to getting that final score prediction correct, but unfortunately, that never happened. Lamar on the day had 16-22 for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, and he also had a touchdown on the ground. King Henry had 140 rushing yards on the day. Justice Hill had a 51-yard rushing touchdown that pretty much sealed the game. Zay Flowers led receiver with 5 catches for 62 yards, but the touchdowns went to Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. Ravens defense had 4 sacks, but they were able to stop the rushing game all game long. Just a shame they couldn't stop the pass. Yeah, worst pass defense in the NFL. Definitely showed out. Speaking of passing, Justin Herbert had 21-36 for 218 yards, with the only touchdowns going on the ground, with Justin Herbert getting the rushing touchdowns, same with Gus Edwards in garbage time. Ladd McConkey, not a surprise here, leading the team in receiving with 6 catches for 83 yards, and I was right to bench Quentin Johnston because he didn't log a single catch all game. Dobbins had an okay game, but I knew that the Ravens weren't messing around on the rushing game, besides the 2 rushing touchdowns. But the defense got fried. Derwin James got the only sack of the game for the Chargers defense. They just couldn't stop a damn soul for anything. Oh yeah, and shout out to Dicker the kicker for getting 3 field goals. I starting to hate him a little bit because there was one week where he made my life a living hell with his 5 field goals. The Ravens are still one of the best teams in the AFC despite losing to the Steelers. But the Chargers? Yeah, they've been a pretty big surprise. I think Jim Harbaugh has really done a good job. Let's hope that they could keep this positive momentum going. Both of these teams. Well, Chargers need to get back the positive momentum. Baltimore's got to keep it going. And as far as the Chargers, I will see you in week 13. God, I'm scared of that damn defense. I'm sorry. Playoff rankings come out tonight, so I will get those playoff rankings tomorrow along with the week 13 predictions for the NFL. Anyways, that is going to do it for this episode of Grizzly Talks Football. This is the Grizz, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video, and be sure to smash that like button. That's all from me, and I will see you guys next time. I'll see you later. Peace.